Alright gamers, we're back, and what happened was the Amazon lady here has landed on the portal of power space, and the portal of power space says do not draw a card if there's already one in this space. If you're crossing into the plane of peril, do not draw a card. Instead you must first use craft to pick the lock or strength to force it. Choose which ability you are using and roll 2 dice. If the total is equal or less than your chosen ability, move to the plane of peril. If it is higher, remain here and lose 1 from that ability. Okay. Well, the reason we've gonna go ahead and try is, one is, she's been able to build up her strength a little bit. She now has 10 on her base strength, and she has 6 on her base craft. But she has a Solomon's Crown, which adds its 2 to her craft. She has a unicorn, which adds 1 to her strength in her craft. She got a mule, which helps her carry more than 4 objects. She has her talisman. She has his magic belt, which adds 1 to her strength, and she has his doom sword, which adds 3 to your strength during battle. So she's okay. She's a little lacking in craft, but I went ahead and took the risk. You know, there's a very good risk that I have gone early to try and do this, and that I couldn't die in the inner region. I mean, it's just like that. I mean, very much risky that I could do that could happen. But we're gonna go for broke and try to do it. So she's gonna roll 2 die. Now with all these bonuses and stuff, there's no way she's gonna get higher than 12. I got 5, so she is now at the plane of peril. It says stop here, move only 1 space per turn. Okay, so she moves only 1 space per turn. I can move here to the crypt, or I can move here to the mines. Mines, I would use my craft. At the crypt, I would use my strength. Now I have a higher strength than I do craft, so I'm going to go to the crypt. But if I had a higher craft, I would go to the mines. So let's go 1 space, and we are going to go to the crypt, and let's see what it has to say. And it says, roll 3 dice. Subtract your strength from the total and move directly to, and then wherever that goes to. So let's roll 3 dice. Let's hope for low here. I have 9, 10, 11. 11 strength. I rolled 3 dice. Alright. And now I will subtract my strength from the total. Well, I have a strength of 10. And then I had a strength of 11, so I'm automatically at 0, so I get to stay at the crypt. You know, if I had 1 thing left, I'd move back to the plane of peril. If 2 or 3, I would have gone to the portal of power. You know, 6 plus, which means if I didn't have a good number of strength, and you roll them 3 dice, and you roll like all 5s or 6s or something, you're going back to the freaking outer region, and you have to basically start all over and work your way back up there. That's not fun. But I had high enough strength. That would have happened here too if my craft, I don't have a great craft, so there's a possibility that could have happened, but I went the way of the strength. So now we can stay there and we can move our next turn. And this, we'll move 1, and it is Dance with Death. Dice with Death, I'm sorry. Roll 2 dice for yourself and 2 dice for death. If the scores are equal, dice with death again on your next turn. If your score is lower, lose 1 life, and dice with death again on your next turn. If your score is higher, you may move on your next turn. Oh boy, so let's hope I get lucky. I don't have any fate. So I'm going to roll 2 dice. And I got a 7. 6. Crap. Alright, death gets a 4. Alright, so I got higher, so I can move on my next turn. And I will. And I go to the werewolf den. Fight the werewolf. Roll 2 dice for the werewolf strength, then fight it. If you lose 1 life, and you fight the same werewolf again on your next turn. You cannot move on until you have defeated the werewolf. Okay, so let's see what the... You know, his strength ain't gonna be higher than mine. He got 8 strength. Okay. So let's roll. That was kind of a high roll, huh? I kicked his butt anyways. So, beat him. Let's move on 1 space. Valley of Fire. You must have a talisman to enter. We do. We have the talisman right here. We got it from the Warlock's quest. You may only enter the Valley of Fire if you have one of the fabled talismans. If you do not have one, you must turn back. Yeah. The Crown of Command can only be reached from this space. Well, guess what? Here's the Crown of Command. We're going to go up the ladder here and go up to the Crown of Command. And let us see what alternate ending it is. And let's hope for a good one. You know, it's a possibility that we'd have to fight other characters. Well, since all the other characters are dead, that means we would automatically win. There's a possibility that we have to fight some monster, whereas we only have 4 life left. And you know that monster's going to be pretty badass. There's a possibility it can be a bad one or something we had to do during the game, and we may have to go finish up. Let's just see what we got. And the alternate ending is the Crown of Command. If a character is on the Crown of Command and no other characters are present, he must cast 1 command spell at the start of each of his turns. If a 1, 2, or 3 is rolled, the spell has no effect. On a 4, 5, or 6, all other characters lose 1 life. Well, if a character is on the Crown of Command and there is another character present, he must encounter the other character instead of casting a spell. So basically what this ending was if the other 2 characters were still alive, I'd roll a die. If I rolled a 4, 5, or 6, they would all lose a life. And if I rolled a 1, 2, or 3, the spell would have no effect. And we would keep going until they either lost all their lives or they were somehow managed to get up here and try to fight me. Because I couldn't cast any more spells, I would have to fight them and they could possibly beat me. But since there are no other characters, then guess what? We won the Amazon of all people. I did not think the Amazon honestly was going to win. I thought the Amazon was a loser. I thought it was surely going to be the assassin. But he was the first to get knocked out. So if you placed your bets on the Amazon, you won pretty good. So the Amazon won and beat the Crown of Command. So as you can see, this game plays pretty fast, paced-wise, when you play, because you just move around the board and get cards and stuff like that. As far as length-wise, this game can take a long time. Now, I did a couple videos for this. Each one's about 20 minutes long. And I cut out a lot of stuff. You know, I didn't play a lot of the game. And if these other characters, the Alchemist and the Assassin, hadn't died, this game would have went on longer. It would have went on several hours longer. And, you know, I went for broke as well and went ahead and took a risk and went up into the plane of peril, which most people probably would have said, well, let me build up some more stuff. Let me build my craft up a little bit better. I was happy with my strength, but I wasn't too happy with my craft or my life. And you can build your life past your starting point. You know, she started with 4. She could have built it past 4 if certain cards would have, or granted her the ability and stuff like that. But as you can see, this is a fun game. Fast-paced, very fantasy thematic. The only problem with this game is I did mix all the cards from the expansions in there, and I did have to discard several cards because they didn't fit. But, you know, when we play that expansion, hopefully they'll fit. And we will play an expansion next time. I'm thinking about doing the maybe the Reaper expansion. We'll start off with the small box expansion, possibly doing that. It's one of my favorites, so why not? But that's Talisman for you from Fantasy Flight Games, probably the granddaddy of fantasy games, the Arkham Horror of the fantasy games. And as you can see, it is a fun game. The artwork on the board is magnificent, if you ask me. It's a very big board, and just wait till you see when you add the expansions to them. Artwork on the cards, as you can see, very good. Character artwork, very good. The miniatures are good. Like I said, I painted my miniatures and I did a crappy job, so you can't go by that. The Alchemist, I do think I did a fairly alright job on. I mean, he's not too bad. Talisman, folks. Like I said, if you're in like fantasy games, this is your base fantasy game. Now, it may not be as complicated or in depth as some other games, and some other games may actually be better. But if you want a good fantasy, great game, which all others kind of pay homage to, Talisman is it. Fantasy Flight Game did a real good job revising it. This is the 4th edition. You know you're going to get good stuff with it. and it's a fun game. So, hope you enjoyed it. Like, give me a shout out, comment, hey, do whatever. I just hope this was helpful and informative and gave you the basic rules of how to play. Just remember, my big one difference from playing is that characters can move any way they want according to the game rules. I just move clockwise, and that if a character dies before somebody gets to the crown of command, then you can bring in a new character. Those are really only my two big different rule changes from the base game. So, that's as far as rules go. But hey, Talisman, great game, love it. If you got some money to invest, get it, and get all the expansions. You won't regret it. So that's it for this time, and I will see you next time for a new game.